In this video, we will discuss how to convert a string to an integer in C++. There are different ways to convert a string to integer. Let's discuss them one by one. First one is using the istringstream. For that, first we need to include the stringstream file. We have included it here. Then we need to create a stringstream object. So here we have created a istringstream object and initialized it with a string value. We have passed the string value in the constructor of istringstream object. After that, we need to fetch an integer value from this string stream. Let's create an integer. Now let's fetch this integer value from this string. We can now print this string object. Now let's try to compile this code. There are no compile errors. When we run the code, it printed the value 77. So basically we created a istringstream object and inserted the string value to it. And from the istringstream object, we fetched the integer value. So it's a simple solution, but you need to include the ststream file for this. Let's go to the second solution. For that, we need to use the boost library. There is one lexical cast function in the boost library that we can use to cast the string value to integers. For that, we need to include the lexical cast file. Now here in the num value, we will do boost underscore lexical cast, and we will pass int here and pass the string value here as an argument. Now let's run this code. First we will clear the console. Now let's compile this code. So we can see here it converted the string value to an integer 77. So basically we pass the type as a template parameter in the lexical cast function, and it converted the string value to the integer. But we need to make sure that the string has integer only or numeric value only. Let's suppose we pass the string ABC. Now let's try to run this code. It will throw exception at the runtime, that is bad lexical cast. So what is the solution for this case? In this case, we need to basically encapsulate this call in a try catch brackets. Okay, so what we will do, we will say try catch print this can not be converted. Okay. So that in case of error, we see proper errors. Now what we will do, we will need to catch this exception. So we will type here. Now try to run the program again. So what we are doing, in the catch block, we are catching the exception bad lexical cast and then printing on the console that this cannot be converted. So instead of exiting the program abruptly, we cached the corresponding exception and printed it. So benefit of try catch here is that if you have any code that is after the catch, like here So this last line will also be executed because we safely cached the exception and print, and then we went forward. Okay. Last line. But in the previous case, when we are not catching the exception, the program will exit abruptly. So let's say we do here and we don't catch any exception. In this case, the program will end at this line, because this line is raise an exception and program will exit. Let's execute this code and see. This line never, these two lines never got executed because the program exited here. So that's why we need to use try catch with the lexical cast. Now let's move to the third solution. In the third solution, we will use stoi function. So let's remove this extra line also. Now instead of boost lexical cast, we will use stoi function. It's from standard library, and we will pass the string value to it. So let's see what happens if our string does not have any numeric character. In that case, it will throw exception, invalid argument. Okay. So we need to encapsulate that. So what we will do, we will copy this code and we will move it here. And now if we see the example, so it printed the exception. Now if we change the value to here 80, let's clear the console, and if we compile the program again, the output is 80. This time it successfully converted the value to integer. So this is the third way to convert the string to an integer. There is another way, that is a to I function. So let's do this code, that is ASCII to integer. But in this function, ASCII to integer, and for that we need to include the file cstd lib. Yeah, so there is an error here because in this function we need to pass a character pointer, not a string object. So what we will do, we will call the c_str function of the string object, because it returns the character pointer to the null terminated contents of the string. Basically it returns the pointer to the internal memory where the characters are stored in the string. So we will pass that to the a2i function and it will give us the integer value. So yeah, so this code ran successfully. So that was the fourth way. Now we will discuss the last way. For that we need to include another file stdio, that is using scanf. So let's copy some code here. So because it will take time to type the code, so we will directly copy it here from our website thispointer.com. Yeah. So we created an integer variable here. Then we use the scanf function. In the scanf function, we first pass the character pointer pointing to the characters in the string, that is like here 80, and then we passed a format string like %d. %d denotes that this string contains the number only, and then we pass the value address of the integer. So what it will do, it will parse the string, convert the string to an integer because we provided the format here, and populate the value in the integer value. And if it's successful in doing all these things, then it will return 1. In that case, we will print the integer. Otherwise, we will print the error that it cannot be converted into integer. Let's print this program. So yeah, it successfully converted the value to integer. So if there is something else like 7, ABC, and 8, let's see what happens in this case. In this case, it will convert the first value only. Basically, it will iterate over the characters in the string and it will use the numeric values till it encounters a non-numeric value. So here it picked the 7 only. But what if our string does not have any numeric value, like it has ABC only? In that case, scanf will return 0 and our code in the else block will be executed. So this was the last way, or you can say the fifth way, to convert a string to an integer. We hope that you liked the video. Please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like the video. Thanks for watching.